Well, hello guys, and welcome back to another Steven Universe review. In this episode, we're taking a look at Season 5, Episode 20, What's Your Problem? I'm just gonna say it. This may be my favorite episode in the season so far. I loved this so much. This works on so many levels. It's easily one of the most human episodes the show has ever made, and I love human interaction, and I love this episode. And it came out of left field. If you saw the last episode, I said I was expecting episode 20 to be a Ruby, Greg, and Amethyst episode, right? Them going off and doing their own adventure. But Ruby's not even in the episode. Neither is Greg. This is a Steven Amethyst episode. Which... I wanted to get the On the Run review out before this event started. I'd originally planned on getting it out on Saturday, but that didn't happen. Well, dating this video. But, I love Amethyst. So, a Steven Amethyst episode is great. And, yeah, this episode does not disappoint at all. So, let's get into it. It starts off, remember, the last episode left off with a note from Ruby, and it's basically Ruby just saying, oh, she needs some time to think, and she runs away. They ask Amethyst if she knows what's happens, and Amethyst doesn't. All she knows is that Ruby asked for a pen and paper, and she says, oh, it's not her problem, and keeps getting Steven to play video games on GameCube, because neat. And the characters break down and start crying. You know the joke, right? All character development is done through singing and or crying, which the episode does this early on as a great subversion, because the rest of the episode subverts that, right, the joke about the show. But it does it early on here as contrast. Great moment to show, and yeah, it's actually kind of sweet, and they use future vision to foreshadow stuff, presumably the next episode. We'll see. But Steven wants to go find Ruby, and because Amethyst doesn't want to deal with the crying, she tags along. They go around looking for Ruby. It's because it's put yourself in Ruby's shoes. They go into the ocean, don't find her there, of course. And then so they start perusing the beach. I like little tiny Amethyst. That's cute. And I like how her body is just the gym, because that's of course how it would work. That makes perfect sense. That's neat. But they go around the boardwalk, we get a little montage, and yeah, it's fine, because Amethyst is right. She's trying to have fun, enjoy herself, while Steven's serious, and he cares, and he's really trying to find Ruby. It's a good contrast for their characters, but it's also highlighting our main issue of the episode. I mean, it's highlighting the main issue in the fact that Steven cares about Ruby and Amethyst is just trying to have fun, but it also shows our personality dynamic here between Steven and Amethyst and how that's going to affect the episode and how everything's going to play out. But eventually, Amethyst talks Steven into getting an everything pizza at Fish Stew Pizza, which, God, that's a lot. Honestly, that's a lot of pizza, and maybe it's just because I'm not a seafood guy, but nah, that doesn't look that good. But while sitting down to just eat pizza, they have a conversation about, well, everything. Or Amethyst asks Steven about how he feels about this whole pink diamond thing, and then she kind of turns it around, and she starts talking about her feelings and not projecting them onto Steven, but relating them to Steven, and this is amazing. This is an amazing scene because I think this is the most realistic dialogue the show has ever had. This is a conversation two people have. The way how it's just a few lines talking, right? It's just, Steven's gonna have like 2 words, and then Amethyst is gonna have 2 words, and they just keep going back and forth. And it picks up, right? They each start sharing their emotions. They open up to one another. Amethyst inadvertently opens up about herself. It's great. This is a conversation 2 real people would have. I totally buy it, and I love that. I love that they can pull off this realistic dialogue. That's so great. It's not something I felt like the show's ever struggled with, But this really shows the show's writing talent. It's not always about these grand, epic adventure stories. Sometimes we can just have two characters sit down over dinner and talk, and that's just as, if not more, interesting than anything else. But Steven doesn't really know how he feels because he already knows Rose Quartz is a liar, right? So this isn't really that big of a reveal for him. And Amethyst gets mad because she says this isn't our problem. We shouldn't have to fix it. This is Rose Quartz's war. We shouldn't have to deal with this. Why are we being, is it called granddaded into it? Because of what their parents did, now they're forced to do it. And Amethyst is kind of right. She brings up a point that, oh, Steven's your mom. But for all intents and purposes, Rose was also Amethyst's mom. I mean, go back and watch, what is it? Not The Answer. We Need to Talk and the other flashback episode in season 1. Right? They show that Amethyst was basically a child and Rose Quartz was basically a mom. It adds up. But eventually through Jenny, they find out where Ruby is up at, it's like Sad Person Point. That's not the exact name. Don't at me. It was really funny either way. And Amethyst is like, let the adults handle it, right? I'll do it. And so we get a chase/fight between Steven and Amethyst. There's a joke about literally in my head. It's funny. But the fight works. It's funny. Every time Steven and Amethyst butt heads, it makes for a great episode. This happens all the time. And every time it happens, it's always great. They just contrast each other so well. But eventually the helicopter goes down on the beach, and Amethyst rants to Steven about how she feels, because Amethyst is all about making this how Steven feels, but Steven wants to know how she feels, right? Steven taking on his leadership role. And Amethyst's basic argument is that she doesn't want this to change her. Yes, this is Rose Quartz's problem. This isn't my problem. This isn't your problem. This isn't even Garnet or Pearl's problem, which... they're Amethyst and Steven, yeah, totally not culpable at all. Garnet and Pearl, not so much. She doesn't want anyone responsible for her. She wants to take her destiny into her own hands. She wants to continue to be herself, even though these big reveals keep happening. And she doesn't want Steven to suffer. She doesn't want to fall apart on him like we saw at the beginning of the episode or last episode with Garnet falling apart and Pearl just breaking out and crying. She wants to be mature. And yeah, that's amazing. It's also another great character moment. It just continues to show Amethyst is in my top 3 favorite characters in this show. This is a great moment because, she's looking out for Steven after all the development with Smoky Quartz and Jasper. This is a logical step for the show to take with her. And Steven comes out and says, "You're the most mature Crystal Gem," which it reminds me of the thing that, when you're a kid, you think adults are great, right? They know everything and they've got everything figured out. And then as you grow older, you realize, no, they don't. No one has everything figured out. Life's a chaotic mess. But that's just the way it is. That's what this reminded me of. Because Amethyst isn't... yes, she is... by the standard they're looking at here and like how everyone's dealing with Rose Quartz being Pink Diamond, I'd agree. But yet she still acts like a child. She still... she complains about it here... because she acts like a child. That's what makes her mature. She understands her strengths and her weaknesses. Now, the one thing I will say that Amethyst doesn't touch on here, but the episode still demonstrates, is that while she doesn't want to make this Steven's problem, she doesn't want him to suffer, she doesn't want any of them to suffer, that doesn't mean they can't choose to suffer, right? Sometimes you have to suffer in life to truly excel. And as Steven chooses to go find Ruby right after this, it's his choice. Amethyst doesn't want this to be his problem, but Steven can choose to make this his problem. And while they don't say it, they still show it, which is a good thing. And they find Ruby up at Sad Person Point or whatever, Ruby and Greg, and that's the next episode in Cowboys. And then after that, we get the wedding. And then the final episode's going to be, well, whatever. But yeah, I love this episode. I think it's great. It's some of the best character development. Characters really just expressing their feelings, being who they are, and just staying true to themselves. And sometimes that's all you need. That's what makes this episode great, is it doesn't need to, we don't need to reveal Pink Diamond, right? We don't need this big reveal. Sometimes we can just let our characters be our characters, and the episode will be strong no matter what, because our characters are strong enough to hold them on their own. I hope you all enjoyed. Stay tuned for more. Until next time, peace.